Hello, and welcome back to Entropy-Defiant Gaming, where we play games that seem to defy entropy. Games you want to return to for decades, in some cases. 20-year anniversary for Half-Life 2. 20 years since this game came out. Okay, so we got a bunch of dead poison head crabs. So there's the... These things are awful. Look at that. That is a poison head crab zombie. And these are fast head crab zombies. Anyway, so sounded like a fast zombie. So we're in Ravenholm. We're near the end of Ravenholm. Around about a third of the way through Half-Life 2. I'm trying to remember exactly. Isn't it over here? Yeah, right there. So, I think... Yeah, I think maybe I'll just take all my gear over here. My loot. Take all my loot with me. Now, if I was playing a speed run, and I actually have never, I've never tried a speed run for Half-Life 2 or any of the Half-Life games, probably because I know it would take a lot of planning. I have tried speed runs for other games a little bit, but anyway, if I was playing a speed run, there's no way I would do this. But I'm not doing a speed run. I'm doing a slower run. I don't know what to call it. Anyway, okay, let's continue forward. And this is the run where, well, it's not that quite, but it's close to the sort of run where Gordon Freeman doesn't know what he's going to face, and so he's getting ready for that and things like it. Can't. Gordon Freeman. Where am I going? I guess... Oh, is this it? Okay. Here we go. The fun begins. This is where I'm now coming up on is the... Oh, we'll grab some paint too, so we can... want to recolor some things a little bit. We're coming up on the lawn section of Half-Life. Half-Life 2. It's a large map, so to speak. There they go! Fun, fun! Okay, this is gonna be fun! Yes, this is a large area in Half-Life. Large area of Half-Life 2. Okay, let's...
Gamma correction. Our game engine has a rendering system that's responsible for taking the entire state of the game and calculating a color value for every pixel on your screen to represent that state. But code and software from other people are involved in the process of calculating those pixels as well. As an example, the software and hardware in your GPU and monitor. At one point during development, we were unhappy with how our characters looked. In particular, we thought that they looked waxy or sickly. Their skin was wrong. We spent some time tuning our lighting, but we just couldn't get both our characters and our world to look right. Luckily, we still had a fully featured software renderer, which allowed us to run the game without a GPU, because this was an era where many players still didn't have one. And looking at the game on that renderer, we noticed that our lighting didn't have the same problem. So we went through our code with a fine-tooth comb, trying to figure out where our rendering code was doing something wrong when it was working with a GPU. After failing to do so, we tried talking to the GPU manufacturers, asking them to double-check they weren't doing anything wrong with the pixel values we were passing them. That was the start of a long journey, and long story short, it was a journey of almost 2 years of back-and-forth communication with GPU manufacturers before we were able to convince them that they were doing gamma correction incorrectly in the low-level map on their cards. During this, we'd even had to build a system that validated the color values of an individual pixel throughout the entirety of our rendering pipeline. But eventually, at the end, we finally got new drivers back from them, and our characters immediately looked like they should, matching the software renderer.
Good golly, I hate these. What the heck? Wait, I've got this guy. Oh. Got it. Finally. That's another? Okay, well, should I, well, there's probably going to be more of these around, but, alright, there's these, fortunately. I think there's a, now, the first time I played this, it was quite a lot more, disturbing, but because I played it so many times now, I guess I just used to it. Well, I'm more used to it. I can't quite remember everything, but... Uh-oh. Yeah, in real life, if I was Gordon in this situation, I'd probably be pretty worried. It doesn't help that my ammo's low.
At this point in Ravenholm, the player has learned all the gameplay elements available to them and can predict their interactions. This allows us to build more complex setups, providing a greater level of threat and more freedom in how the player can approach each scenario. This arena is a deliberately entwined space that the player will need to explore, and we use that exploration time to slowly ramp up combat intensity. The faster the player explores, the faster we ramp it up. The freeform nature of this design made it challenging to tune, given the large dynamic range in how players played through it.
Look at all these. But you can do one thing, kinda, to us. Of course, that falls off. Is there anything else here? Oh, yeah. Wow, I'm almost out of bullets. Can't just switch to this or something. Well... Let's see. Well, I guess I could use one of those. Oops. Well, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Well, there are too many of these guys. I think this one I can hold on to for now. I don't like those poison head crabs, or the poison head crab zombies. Okay, well, I think I need more ammo. Another? How did it die? Oh, look! It looks like the bottles from Caravaneer. Yes, somebody needs to create a Caravaneer mod for Half-Life 2. What's this?
Playtester archetypes. Iteration and regular playtest were the lifeblood of Half-Life 2's production. Every week, we'd quietly watch over the shoulder of a player going through the section we were working on, taking notes on what worked and what didn't. It was important for us to test with a wide range of skill levels, to be sure that we weren't making decisions that only worked for some. Over time, we learned to choose specific types of playtesters based on the development stage we were at. Early on, we used experienced gamers, usually teammates, who could handle rough, unfinished areas and were good at explaining their thought process. For combat testing, we'd find players of all skill levels, especially those creative in their usage with the tools. Finally, as sections became more polished, we'd focus on beginners, people who didn't play games much or weren't familiar with first-person shooters. Even if they weren't necessarily someone who might buy the game, we often learned something valuable from watching them.
There. I think. Oh. That was amusing. Oh, look. Okay. Oh no. Sheesh. Well, that was kind of close. Uh-oh. I think that's the first time I died in this game.
rest, my child.
Sheesh. Sheesh. Can't get it from all the way. There we go. Okay, well. Oh well, I'll just go. Get up there.
How came you here, brother? This is the wrong side of town for you. Did I not tell you to seek the church? Mend your ways before it is too late.
Seek the church. Seek the church. Okay, well, no, don't do that. Come on. Anything else here? I think I need to hold on to at least one or two of these. Another. Where did my sub go then? Well, can't pick up those. A bit too large. Maybe I should save. That sounds good. What happens if I go up here? Well. Well, I have plenty of health, or I mean, kits, I should say, health kits.
Lacerations detected.
To use another one? Yeah, I'll use another. The little noises that they make. Did I get them all? Okay, well, actually, is there? Oh, there's that. Okay, so that's. And I'll grab a saw blade. Too bad he can't put these in his inventory. I guess I'll use this. Let it die. Oh, that's good. Okay. Oh no!
Warning.
Well, that's what happens.
Toxin levels detected. Automatic
Puts you down.
systems engaged. Morphine administered.
Puts you down to 1 health, so it won't kill you. But if anything else hits you afterward, then you'll die until the the antitoxin takes effect. Wait, didn't I have another one of these? Oh well. Are they all dead? Yeah, I think they're dead. Hope they're dead. Okay, well, I think it's probably time to go down there. Is there another way? Over here. So that's where I saw the poison head crab zombie earlier. Remember, I took the elevator down. Okay, so gee. That's right, I have this. I forgot. I don't think I've ever seen one like that before. Should probably use these grenades. Okay. No.
Final arena. When we finished the first pass over Ravenholm, this rooftop was intended to be the culminating fight. Like other spaces in Ravenholm, it had begun life as a space purely focused on being an interesting visual location. We felt it was important that, as the player left Ravenholm, they had a moment to look back over the town they had just survived and get a glimpse of where they were headed next. Multiple gameplay groups took a shot at building a fight here, but the tight geometry and performance constraints meant we never really created a finale we were happy with. Not unlike the Half-Life saga itself, it seemed as if Ravenholm was destined to not have a real ending.
Sheesh. I hate them. Oh, this hasn't gone so well so far. I guess I shouldn't have activated this till I... Gotcha. Okay, so that helps. No!
Almost there, brother.
Oh, I wish I'd known that I shouldn't pick up that shotgun shells there.
No, brother, step into the cart. The handbrake, brother. Release it and come down. Greetings, brother. And so we meet at last. You are to be commended for avoiding my traps. The work of a man who once had too much time on his hands and now finds time for nothing but the work of salvation. I suspect you have little wish to remain in Ravenholm, so I will show you to the mines. As for me, a shepherd must tend to his flock, especially when they have grown unruly. Follow me, brother, and tread lightly, for this is hallowed ground.
Father Grigori, we finally get to meet him.
Over here, brother.
And this is Ravenholm. It's some, Eastern European town that's been taken over by zombies. Anyway.
Follow me.
Okay. There's...
Yes, my children, it is I. Over here, brother.
Not quite accurate enough with that. 357. Sheesh.
Over here, brother. Stay close to me, brother.
Response rules. We knew early on that we wanted a lot of dynamic dialogue in-game, so we needed a system to handle it effectively. We aimed for a system that allowed sound designers to add and tweak lines without involving programmers, made the dialogue tightly responsive to the game's state, and minimized repetition. With these requirements, we created the response rules system. Whenever a character speaks outside of a choreographed scene, this system determines which line to deliver. Rather than picking up lines directly, character AI is constantly flagging opportunities for speech whenever a relevant event happens. Spotting the player, getting hurt, firing a last round in a gun, encountering overwhelming enemies, and so on. With each opportunity, it sends the response rules system a packet of data about the game's current state, and the system returns the most fitting dialogue line, if there is any. This setup allowed our sound designers to create a detailed decision matrix for dialogue. For example, a character might have a different set of lines for announcing a reload while under fire versus after the end of a fight, or if only one ally is left standing, or if there's a strider in sight, etc. By the time we shipped Half-Life 2, we felt we'd only scratched the surface of this system's potential. It became a core feature of Episode 1's Alyx, and went on to power the dynamic dialogue in our later games, including TF2's classes and the cast of Left 4 Dead.
Over here, brother.
The real final arena. Very late in the development of Half-Life 2, when we were reviewing the entire game for final improvement opportunities, we decided we did, in fact, want a real finale for Ravenholm. The rooftop fight wasn't enough. After some discussion, we chose to add this final fight through the graveyard with Grigori alongside the player. It was risky, development-wise, but we felt the game needed it. Since we were near the end of production, we had a mature set of gameplay tools to work with, but even more importantly, by this point, we understood our own game. Making a game is often a process of learning what it is you're actually creating. Why is our game fun? How is it different? What are the most important elements? As we built the game and watched playtesters go through it, we learned answers to those questions and, in turn, got better at making it. So the graveyard came together quickly and required far less iteration than many earlier areas of the game.
Aim for the head. Beware! I remember your true face. nothing worse for you. You meant no harm.
Where are those coming from?
Return to your true nature.
I think it's gonna burn out eventually.
Woe to thee. Follow me. Quickly, brother.
There's a bunch of them over here. I gotta get them all.
Look out! Be free, my child. I think no worse of thee.
Alright. Grigori can die, I believe. You know what? Actually, I'll save the game and. Oh shoot! I can also die.
Toxin levels detected.
Well, I kind of planned on him dying, but I wanted to at least show you. Oh well.
Hurry while I hold the gate.
Okay.
Go quickly. Farewell, brother. I fear I deliver you to a darker place. May the light of lights illuminate your path. Look to your own salvation.
That's a head crab zombie for you. There they are. Okay, well. Yeah, there he is. Okay, well, I guess it's time to move on. Unfortunately, my light power is gone. In episode 1, Half-Life 2 episode 1, they separated the light from the sprint. I believe in Half-Life 1 the light and the sprint were separate as well. Why did they combine them? I don't know. I guess. Okay. Well, that was Ravenholm. Actually, this is still probably Ravenholm, but uh-oh.
Major fraction detected.
Oops. Anything else here? Okay. Okay, so I gotta...
The complex route the player takes to safely navigate this mine shaft gives them plenty of time to see what's waiting for them at the bottom. And surprise, it's headcrabs. Honestly, it's often headcrabs. But in this case, it's poison headcrabs, which are fun by themselves, but a real riot when you add fast headcrabs into the mix. These two guys make a great combination. Neither is particularly dangerous on its own, but together they're incredibly lethal. Once poisoned, a single hit from a fast headcrab is enough to kill the player. And this is what biologists call symbiosis. At least that's what we think.
I think it doesn't matter if I blow them up, though. Uh-oh.
Major fracture detected.
No!
Minor detected. Seek medical attention.
How do I get out of here? I can't even remember. I think it's this way, but... I could be wrong.
Warning. Vital signs critical. Lacerations detected. Emergency. User dead.
I think maybe I'll just let myself die.
Minor laceration detected. Warning.
Some places are more of a pain than others.
The complex route the player takes to safely navigate this mine shaft gives them plenty of time to see what's waiting for them at the bottom. And surprise, it's headcrabs. Honestly, it's often headcrabs. But in this case, it's poison headcrabs, which are fun by themselves, but a real riot when you add fast headcrabs into the mix. These two guys make a great combination. Neither is particularly dangerous on its own, but together they're incredibly lethal. Once poisoned, a single hit from a fast headcrab is enough to kill the player. And this is what biologists call symbiosis. At least that's what we think.
There's a whole ecosystem down here of let me see here. So what am I doing? I guess that I will... And it died. I don't think it can quite get me up here, fortunately. I think in some of these areas, enemies just continuously respawn. So... Okay. Can't quite get me. Ow. Where'd it go? Where'd they go? No. No, this is awful. Head crabs are horrible. If I didn't have so much experience with them, I'd be a lot more scared. I get them all. Alright, well, I guess that could have gone better. Awesome. Water. Creatures lurking in here. There were in Half-Life 1, there were creatures. I had to worry about the... Oh, what was it called? The ichthyosaur. Oh, look at this. I guess I could try to go up there myself and see if there's... Oh, look. Well, let's see what happens when I go up. I guess there's not much up here. Oh. Need oxygen. Looks like another one of Father Grigori's traps. Uh-oh. You can go up, I guess. Can't cross it. Ah. Oh, seagulls. Nice to know there's still birds and other such things in this world. Got one finally. Alright, I'm good.
Sniper Alley. This section of Game Track was added late in development, after we moved Eli's lab in Ravenholm to come before Coast. While you might think that we build the game linearly, we actually split up into 3 different groups and worked in parallel on different sections, starting mostly in the middle of the game. Each group's first pass focused on nailing down the core of their section before they moved on. And then once we had a rough version of the whole game laid out, we went back over each section to polish it, adding successful elements from other areas and removing what wasn't working. In some cases, such as in Ravenholm, entire sections were moved. And then, after Ravenholm was relocated, we needed a new piece to connect it to the coast, which is the area you're entering now. Given the time constraints, this short section was built using existing, proven gameplay elements, like snipers and combine soldiers.
Half-Life 2's physics gave us a variety of tools to make combat more exciting. For instance, when enemies miss the player, we subtly redirect their shots toward breakable objects nearby, adding mayhem and creating that action movie feel. We also employed physics to add hints. We created what we called ragdoll magnets across the game to make enemy corpses fall in interesting and dramatic ways, such as off ledges or into the path of a train.
Snipers. The Half-Life 2 team was never very large, so we were always looking for ways to create new gameplay without high asset production costs. The sniper is a great example. It has no actual model, just a laser beam, so it required no art or animation support. When it dies, it simply spawns a Combine Soldier ragdoll and launches it out the window. Despite that simplicity, we got a lot of unique gameplay from it. We were especially happy with how it interacted with the physics objects in the game world. Players are used to exploiting explosive objects near enemies, so it felt fitting to have an enemy that flipped that dynamic when the player was in cover.
Snipers. So here I am. I believe it's been about 24 hours since Gordon arrived in this world, this time. Only been here for 24 hours, and he's done quite a bit for 24 hours, I'd say. Nice gun. This gun is actually, it's actually very similar to the one on the airboat, except it doesn't recharge. But at least it looks similar when you shoot it. Anyway. A lot of reverberations, echoes around here. There's also a train station in Blue Shift, which is a Half-Life 1 mod. Half-Life 1 expansion, I should say. Probably shouldn't do it this way.
Who's hurt?
Winston's been hit.
Patch him up and get him to the back as soon as he's stable. Gordon Freeman. It's incredible you made it. We've been getting communication from Alyx. I'll see if I can reach her again. Follow me.
This guy's hurt. Too bad. Can't offer medical assistance.
Over here, Dr. Freeman.
I will. Just a second. Wait a second. Are there any kits?
Over here, Dr.
There
Freeman.
probably will be. Okay, so...
Over here, Dr. Freeman.
Oh, okay. Alright, let's go.
It's Leon. We're all clear. And I've got Gordon Freeman.
Dr. Freeman, you're kidding. Look, I've been on the line with Alyx. Her father's been captured.
Over here, Dr. Freeman.
The Eli Vance is indispensable to the liberation.
Another Vortigaunt. And a bunch of injured
Alex,
people.
it's Leon, and I've got Gordon Freeman with me.
Gordon, you made it through Ravenholm. Thank God. I need your help. They've taken my father. He's been taken to Nova Prospect. The Vortigaunts tracked the ship that made off with him and Judith Mossman. While the trains are still running, I'm gonna hitch a ride. Here's where you come in, Gordon. I need you to make your way along the coast until you get to Nova Prospect. It used to be a high-security prison. It's something much worse than that now. But I think it's still easier to sneak in than to break out.
You wanted to take the coast road? You won't last 5 minutes on foot. It's spawning season for the antlions.
That's why I called you, Leon. I was hoping you still had the scout car we left with you last summer. The one my dad rigged with the Tau cannon.
Yeah, good idea. Hold on a sec. Norco, bring the buggy out. Put it on the dock right now. Gordon Freeman will be driving it.
Will do. I just finished mounting an ammo crate on the back.
Good timing. Okay, Alyx, we're all set.
Thanks, Leon. Gordon, I haven't driven the coast in over a year, but I have no reason to think it's gotten any safer. Meet me in the depot where the trains unload. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in Nova Prospect. Bye for now.
Bye, Alyx. Okay, Doc. Before you hit the road, you might want to grab some med kits, restock on ammo, maybe check the map, see where you're headed. There's an ammo supply crate on the back of the car, if that's any comfort. Stay with the car, make use of the thumpers. You'll stand a fair chance against the antlions. I'll radio ahead to let the next base know you're coming. That map is out of date, but you can still see more or less the route to Nova Prospect. Can't vouch for the road, though. We've lost touch with some of the outposts. Shore point to NLO. Shore point to New Little Odessa. Come in, Odessa. Do you read?
Shore point. And...
Shore point to NLO. Shore point to New Little Odessa. Come in, Odessa. Do you read?
It's the next base. Maybe I'll check to see if I can turn up the... Oops, the video quality. Alright. Looks like it's maxed.
Shore point to NLO. Shore point to New Little Odessa. Come in, Odessa. Do you read?
We remember the free man. We are coterminous.
Shore point to NLO. Shore point to New Little Odessa. Come in, Odessa. Do you read?
He's not talking anymore.
Shore point to NLO. Shore point to New Little Odessa. Come in, Odessa. Do you read?
No false veils of time or space may intervene.
Coast kickoff. This interstitial scene came along late in development to connect Ravenholm to coast. Noticing a trend? Quite a bit of the connective tissue in our games comes together late. In this case, that meant cutting corners wherever possible. We didn't even have time to animate Alyx on the monitor. These kinds of scenes are always a challenge to make interesting, and we didn't succeed with this one. It's a good example of what happens when NPCs are treated like signposts without adding character to them or the scene. The result is a forgettable moment where the game's seams show. But that's the nature of development. You only have so much time, and you have to decide where to spend it. Kleiner's lab and Eli's lab were much more important, so that's where we focused our efforts.
You know, I always kind of saw it a little different. I remembered this part because of two things. One was the guy that got... The guy that was injured outside. I for some reason that stuck in my memory, and then you come in here and there's all these injured people. I guess maybe it is kind of minor, but alright, let's continue forward. Okay, here we go.
Hello, Dr. Freeman. The car's all ready for you. Hop in and I'll lower you down to the beach.
Buggy model. The buggy's model went through many iterations before reaching its final version. We cycled through designs that satisfied both our artistic and physics simulation needs, but then hit an unexpected issue. Many playtesters, even experienced FPS players, were getting motion sick while driving it. Along with some simulation tweaks, we discovered that altering the buggy model helped. The more the model obscured the world, the worse the motion sickness became. So we began stripping away parts of the model, removing more and more of the body until players stopped feeling sick. In particular, being able to see the ground through the missing undercarriage made a noticeable difference.
Buggy introduction. We wanted something more engaging for the buggy's introduction than just having the player hop in and drive away. The crane helped with that. Crucially, we needed players to learn how to recover the buggy when it flips over, and this sequence forced them into that situation. Training under pressure is always tricky. We wanted to emphasize the antlion infestation as the reason to stay inside the buggy. So we kept the antlion threat active and provided a couple of citizens on mounted guns for support. A small bonus, players also get the experience of being lifted by the crane just before they'll get to operate one.
The car's ready for you now, Dr. Freeman.
Those are ant lions. Get ready to make friends with ant lions. Literally. Actually, that will be a while from now. But eventually, we will be friends with the ant lions.
Good, here we go.
Yeah, this is a pretty good part of the game.
Buggy training course. This training section was designed to let the player play around with their buggy. At the time Half-Life 2 was released, this level of physical simulation in the vehicle was novel, so we wanted to give players ample opportunity to experiment with it. A player has also just left the tight confines of Ravenholm, and we liked giving him the contrast and reward of being able to move quickly through a large space, feeling safe inside a vehicle. We made sure to require a turbo jump to get out of this area, which doubled as a test to make sure they'd reached a level of comfort in their driving, and also ensured that they didn't leave their buggy behind.
Okay. Oh, there's one other thing I want to show you. I don't know if I... Yeah, I don't know if I should or not now. Well, it's the first time we've reached the ocean, so I will show you the ocean. As you can see, leeches almost died just from being in there a few seconds.
Buggy physics. The physics for a buggy took a lot of trial and error. We wanted it to feel fast, even though its top speed was only about 35 miles an hour. So we had to do some cheating to make it work. We added extra vertical force to the turbo jump and a bit of kick to the rear when using the handbrake to power slide. Without those, the low speed meant the buggy just wasn't fun to drive. On top of that, the world was full of unpredictable physics system-driven chaos. Players were bound to drive the buggy into all kinds of collisions, so we had to make sure that they could always get out. This took a lot of experimenting and playtesting. In the end, we settled on a pretty goofy, unrealistic simulation that made the buggy more forgiving and harder to flip. Its center of gravity is super low, and the wheels, while they look like they turn a lot, actually don't. It was our first attempt at a physically simulated vehicle, and we learned a ton from it. Thanks to that, we were able to make the muscle car in Episode 2 much easier to drive.
Doesn't do anything. Almost back up to full health. Awesome.
Transition tunnels. Building the coast required us to develop a way to handle level transitions. To move from one level to another, we need to save everything in the transition space as the player leaves the first level and restore it in the next level after loading. Critically, we also have to save and restore everything visible to the player in the transition area, even if it lies outside the space itself. For this reason, we aim to keep transition spaces as small and enclosed as possible. In most of the game, a small room works well for this purpose, but on the coast, we needed a different solution. After some experimentation, we settled on dark tunnels. Besides being reusable in a believable way, the tunnels allowed us to add a bright light flare at the end to mask the fact that we can't render what's ahead of the player, because it exists in an entirely different level.
Gonna go right off that edge.
Buggy sound engine. The audio for the buggy was challenging because we wanted it to feel like a really powerful vehicle that's driving along at super high speed, even though the maps aren't really big enough to support that, and the buggy doesn't really leave first gear, and it has a top speed of maybe 35 miles an hour. Now, in our defense, 35 miles an hour is still pretty fast, especially back in 2004. In addition to the speed, the driving inputs are really simple. So with a keyboard as your target input device, the player's controls are basically binary. So the buggy's either accelerating or not accelerating, it's turning fully in one direction or not. So essentially we need to create all this audio complexity to represent a simulation where the complexity doesn't actually exist. So we build a fake engine for the buggy's audio. It's got its own transmission, and we combine the player's inputs with data from the physics simulation. We measure the torque on each simulated wheel, whether it's spinning or making contact, and we create a set of looping sounds and then carefully blend between them as the fake engine shifts gears in response to the wheel data. And we just basically kept trying different things. We added more complexity, we did some fine-tuning until the buggy just feels more fun and sort of rewards you for that feeling of going fast. And most players, they don't really comment on it other than saying the buggy sounds good, and to us that's the success, given the amount of craziness that was going on under the hood.
Numbers. We're
Whenever possible, there's a lot of value in players feeling like they've figured something out on their own. It makes the world feel more alive, rather than just a series of gameplay elements lined up for the player. If we can accept the risk that some percentage of players might miss an element entirely, we can take a more subtle approach. We took this approach with thumpers, designing setups that players are likely to encounter but aren't forced to engage with. There are plenty of visual and audio cues, as well as inline reactions, to help the player understand what's happening. It doesn't guarantee all players will figure it out, but playtesting showed that most did.
Antlions. With the player driving the buggy throughout the coast, we needed a pervasive enemy that could justifiably appear anywhere and act as a constant threat to keep the player in or near their buggy. Antlions spawning from the sand were the perfect solution. Their high mobility allowed them to keep up with the buggy for short bursts, unlike our humanoid enemies. Plus, they were very satisfying to run over.
It's something I was going to say. What was it? The buggy... Something about the... Guess I should switch weapons. You can use the pistol, I think, to kill them in one shot. If I remember right. Don't like those very much. There it goes.
Grenade House. A lot of a Half-Life game is about giving players slightly novel combat experiences around each corner, even if they're just small tweaks on previous ones. They don't all have to be skill-based challenges. Sometimes they can just be fun moments where the player gets to enjoy themselves. This Grenade House is one of those moments, with the twist being that we've inverted the usual setup. Instead of letting the player drop grenades on enemies below, we've put the enemies above. The unlimited grenade box is a somewhat clumsy way to encourage players to engage with the scenario, but its invulnerability also ensures the players can still climb up to the floor above, even if they've blown up everything else.
Oops. Oh, come on. I guess I did get it. Look at that. I guess on some planet, these things are in native life forms, probably. Some planet I probably wouldn't want to live in. So yeah, there's the ocean. I was gonna say, this, as you can see, there's a lot of empty room, especially in this chapter, and I think the next chapter of the game. This would be great for Caravanier, and similar games to it, you know? Except for the ocean, of course. But anyway.
Coast. We wanted a wide open section of the game for the buggy, but we still needed a way to constrain the player's movement. Choosing a coastline gave us a natural boundary along one side of the map while still feeling open and expansive. It also helped visualize the effects of the Combine's extraction of Earth's resources. Playtesters still tried to swim out to sea, so we added leeches to deter them. The leeches couldn't be a real avoidable enemy that players felt they could fight, so they're a bit magical. Players generally understood that they were pushing the game's boundaries, so we didn't overdevelop them.
Yeah, there were also there were leeches in Half-Life 1 as well. So this must have been ocean out here at one time. Ocean probably came up this high or something.
Antlion design. In some of the earliest design work for the game, we had plans for multiple core alien races, with the Combine being just one of them. One of the other races was a religious insectoid species, and antlions were part of that. Later, as we developed Coast, we started viewing them more as pests that came through the Zen portals, along with head crabs and other creatures. While they aren't actually from Zen, they infest the corners of any world they enter, a lot like cockroaches.
Looks like the G-Man here. Got the briefcase. Certainly looks like the G-Man. Kicks the antlion into the water. And that is, I believe, the next place we'll be at. Well, soon, where we'll be at. There goes the G-Man. New Little Odessa. Okay, well.
Open world loot. The openness of Coast introduced a new problem for us in how we distributed item rewards. In a Half-Life game, we typically reward players for exploring. If you see the way forward but notice something off to the side, there's probably something useful if you take the time to search. When we first started playtesting our Coast maps, we tucked rewards away in the corners of the outdoor areas. However, this led to a worse experience with the buggy. The wide open spaces meant there were always lots of small areas that looked like they might contain something, and players kept stopping and getting out of the buggy to search. It became tedious and interrupted the fun of the level. So, we removed those scattered rewards, but this raised a new problem. How do we tell the player when it's worth getting out of the buggy? After some thought, we established a rule. Any kind of human construction would always come with gameplay content and exploration rewards, while purely natural areas would be left empty. We couldn't tell players this directly, but it aligned well with their natural assumptions, and we reinforced it consistently with areas like this.
Buggy bird. In one memorable Coast playtest, a player returned to their vehicle after exploring a house and happened to see a bird flying past. They yelled at the bird, telling it to stay away from their buggy, complaining that birds often foul up their cars in real life. In our post-playtest discussion, we realized that this was the first time we'd had objects separate from the player that the player actually cared about. We saw it as an opportunity to explore, so we built a system to deliver the moment that playtesters feared. When the player leaves their buggy alone for a while, and is out of sight, we spawn a seagull at a random location on the vehicle frame. As time goes on, the seagull spawns poop decals on the car body beneath it, and continues until the player returns, at which point it flies away. Naturally, playtesters wanted to be able to clean their vehicle, so we added the ability to wash the car by driving it into shallow water. It was late enough in development that we already had the tech for all of this, and the feature was quick to implement. It's one of those cases where we know only a small percentage of players will discover it, but if we can implement these kind of details efficiently and have enough of them, most players will encounter at least one.
It does look kind of dirty, but I think that's from the antlion blood.
Buggy sound design. The sound design for the buggy was based on samples from an old 1968 Camaro. And we chose that car because they have these amazing V8 engines with just huge pistons. And there's not really another sound like it. It has this sort of gutsy, visceral sound that we were looking for. The transmission also has this really wonderful mechanical whine when it stops accelerating. And that combination felt really responsive within this basically binary input system that we had to work with. So the fake engine transmission wasn't modeled after a real-world car. Instead, it was just designed as a simple system to reward the player for holding down the accelerator. So it's like a looping escalator that produces a rising tone, constantly building tension and shifting gears whenever the tone needs to restart. And since the player would quickly run out of space in our relatively small maps, the goal was just to make accelerating fun for a short period of time.
Doesn't make sense that you can push this, but something that big.
Boathouse. In Half-Life 1, we discovered we could get a lot of value from scenarios where different AI enemies fight each other. It's fun for players to watch them engage, and it's much easier to observe enemy behavior when you're not the one that's being threatened. This first encounter between antlions and Combine soldiers is designed to be a fun opportunity to ram something with the buggy, but it also serves to highlight the thumper. By seeing the soldiers use the thumper to hold off antlions, we hope more players would come to understand its purpose. We liked how the soldiers demonstrated the value of staying near the thumper while engaging with the antlions.
Hurry, get in the basement. We're expecting gunships at any moment. Colonel Cubbage will be glad to see you made it.
Combine gunship. The gunship was an interesting problem. We had a helicopter flight model already and didn't really have time to build something completely new. So we tuned the helicopter's flight model until it felt different enough, and then derived the gunship's organic animation state from the values coming out of that simulation. We also tried to keep it as truthful as possible. For example, there's a limit as how much it can turn its head to aim its cannon, and if it needs to aim beyond that, it has to alter its flight path to bring the cannon around to bear. It's not allowed to just cheat. The other key feature was its engine sound. We have sound spatialization, so the player can tell roughly where it is, but the gunship is a fast-moving object, and it's up in the air, away from any nearby reference points. As a result, it can be hard to tell exactly how far away it is and how fast it's moving. To fix that, we added a Doppler effect to the engine sound, pitch shifting it based on the gunship's velocity relative to you. It's a subtle effect, but it's extremely effective at subconsciously helping you perceive the gunship's location and direction, critical information letting you know that you're being hunted by it.
Oh. Okay, good. It's recording again. Okay.
Ah, yes. Gordon Freeman. I couldn't have asked for a finer volunteer. Colonel Odessa Cubbage at your service. gunship! Damn. Let me just send a warning to Lighthouse Point, and then I'll come right up and lend a hand.
Need more rockets.
Here, ammo!
Thanks.
Freeman, ammo!
Out of my way! Go, 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 go! Out, go! I got it? Well, that's fast. That's too bad. I was looking forward to a longer fight, but oh well. Need one more.
Get going, Dr. Freeman. We know Eli Vance is depending on you.
Yeah, come on.
Well, that's that. I gather you've disposed of that gunship, Dr. Freeman. Your reputation, sir, is well deserved. I shall have someone open the gate for you immediately so that you can drive on. I understand that Dr. Vance is in great need. Use extreme caution when approaching the bridge. Radio silence from that outpost leads me to believe it has come under Combine control. Still, you're clearly the right man for the job. You'll make it through if anyone can. Farewell. And please tell Dr. Vance that Colonel Cubbage regrets not having been able to rescue him in person.
So this is where we started. This is where we got the
Freeman
buggy.
must now hurry on. The Eli Vance is held in distress most dire. Is there reason for delay?
NLO to Lighthouse Point. NLO to Lighthouse Point. Come in. This is Colonel Cubbage. Come in, please.
Nice. Thank you, Vortigaunt.
We remember the Freeman. We are coterminous. There is no
NLO to Lighthouse
distance
Point.
between us.
NLO to Lighthouse
No
Point. Come
false
in.
veils of
This is
time
Colonel
or
Cubbage.
space
Come in,
may
please.
So here's where we are. Here's where we got the buggy. I can't remember everything that happens, but the bridge is the next major thing, which is one of the best parts of the game.
NLO to Lighthouse
Actually,
Point. Come in.
almost all the entire game is the best part of the game. It's just a great game. Okay. Did I have anything else to do?
Odessa Cubbage. Odessa Cubbage is an example of the kind of cameo character we found works well. He's an entertaining guy with some entertaining details, living inside his own little bubble. Since he doesn't leave his scenario, he's free to be exaggerated enough to stand out. We started with his model, which was repurposed from a cut section of the game, and named him after the title of a spam email we received. The model was originally a Norwegian fisherman, and it didn't quite fit as an Englishman, so we slapped a mustache on him, and in that moment, Odessa's character was born. He's ultimately a charlatan, with everything about him being fake. His accent, his mustache, everything. He would never put himself in danger, making him the perfect person to hand Gordon the RPG and explain exactly how to use it.
I never knew that. I just...
Our
yeah.
finest poet describes
NLO to Lighthouse Point.
His accent is fake.
Laser-guided RPG. The laser guidance feature of the RPG was a huge headache for us because it was difficult to teach. Many playtesters would fire the RPG and then immediately duck behind cover, which meant they didn't see the rocket's flight path. Even worse, they didn't realize the rocket was now turning around to fly back at them. We tried various HUD elements and laser dot indicators to help, but found that most players overlooked them, focusing on the enemy instead. We made as many small improvements as we could, like emphasizing the feature in Odessa's speech and enhancing the audio and visuals around how the gunship shoots down direct RPG shots. While these changes helped some players grasp the feature, we never reached a point where we felt confident that almost everyone understood it. We even considered cutting the feature entirely, but gunship combat without it was much less interesting. The laser guidance forced the player to keep the gunship in sight while the rocket was in flight, but that also meant the gunship had line of sight back, creating a tension we loved.
Now, there was a rocket launcher with laser sight in Half-Life 1. It had the ability, you could alternate fire. You could right-click to deactivate the laser. I don't believe that's possible in this. Yeah, you can't deactivate the laser. It will just... boom. It will follow the laser no matter what. In Half-Life 1 you could fire and forget. I think I've been up there once or twice. Anyway, nothing of interest. I don't know why they didn't do that for this one, but you also fought a gunship in Half-Life 1, so let's see what this guy has to say.
Bring your car up here, and I'll open the gate for you.
NLO to Lighthouse Point, come in. This is Colonel Cummings, come in, please.
Oh, did that... Really? I don't think I've ever seen that happen. I accidentally killed that guy, I guess. And now, you would kill friendly NPCs all the time in Half-Life 1, but I don't think I've ever seen any way to kill a friendly NPC in Half-Life 2.
Well,
makes me wonder.
I gather you've disposed of that gunship, Dr. Freeman. Your reputation, sir, is well deserved. I shall have someone open the gate for you immediately, so that you can drive on. I understand that Dr. Vance is in great need.
Alright.
Use extreme
Well, I did
caution
these,
when
so
approaching
I'm
the
not
bridge.
going to do them again.
Radio silence from that outpost leads me to believe it has come under Combine control. Still, you're clearly the right man for the job. You'll make it through if anyone can. Farewell. And please tell Dr. Vance that Colonel coverage prevails.
Okay. Yeah, okay, so it's saved. So I guess I can...
Get going, Dr. Freeman. We know Eli Vance is depending on you.
That is... I've never seen that before. Like I said, in Half-Life 1, you can...
Drive safely.
In Half-Life 1, you could easily kill the NPCs, you just shoot them. But I didn't know you could even hurt them with this in Half-Life 2. Okay, let's go. Oh, the crane. The crane. Try to kill the guy with the rocket. Oh well. See that.
P2 Coast 04. This map was actually the first area of coast that we built, before the crane and other elements existed. The drained seabed and rusted ships were some of the earliest pieces of art direction we developed. Years later, we showcased the map in our 2003 E3 demonstration, though much of the gameplay was still being figured out at the time. As a result, when we began building out the entire coast section, that demonstration became a useful vision for us to work toward.
Audio over distance. The large-scale spaces in the coast maps led us to seek an audio solution for how sound changes over distance. So for instance, in these maps, an enemy can be well over 100 yards away, and their gun should sound different at that range than when it's up close. We decided to store our sounds in a single stereo file with the near sound in the left channel and the far sound in the right channel. And then during playback, we crossfade, or we change the proportion of sound you hear between those two channels based on the player's distance from the sound. And it was a simple solution that worked well. It helped us with memory constraints. You can easily hear it in action. Just listen to how a Combine soldier's gunshots change as you drive towards them.
We wanted the buggy to be more than just a means of travel, so we decided to attach a gun to it. We chose the Tower Cannon, a Half-Life 1 weapon we liked but hadn't found a place for it in Half-Life 2. The Tower Cannon can shoot through walls, which makes it tricky for level design, so we limited it to the coast section. Once you introduce wall-penetrating weapons, level design becomes much tougher. Furthermore, we mounted an ammunition crate on the back of the buggy, giving the player unlimited SMG ammo throughout coast. This was especially helpful for playtesters who struggled with the infinite antlions spawning from the sand.
Crane. The crane took a lot of fine-tuning to get right. Something that needed to generate so much physical force was always risky, given the limitations of our rigid body physics and destruction technology. For example, the magnet was never going to fully meet player expectations for something with that much mass. But because the crane was stationary, we could carefully choose everything within its range and fine-tune as needed. Fortunately, most players didn't seem to notice its rougher edges, likely because of the sheer novelty of interacting with something like it in a vaguely realistic physics environment.
Missed him. Oh well, I'm not gonna. Okay. That was pretty entertaining, though. I'm gonna get off. Oh, right, I forgot the most important thing. Not that, but... Forgot to get the car. The buggy. Be a little too far out. Ah, great. Have to go move it. Go move the car.
Minor fracture detected.
Okay, there we go. No! Alright. Okay, well, I think we're going to call it a night. Got the buggy up here, and and the Highway 17. So this is Entropy-Defiant Game signing off. Have a good night. Thank you for watching, and like and comment and subscribe. What do you think about it? Just let me know what game you'd like to see me play next, I guess, because I'm getting, well, it's about halfway through Half-Life 1, Half-Life 2. Okay, good night.